It's now time for something completely different for me. I haven't actually gone through and ever really pulled my Ancient Shards on Raid Shadow Legends, and right now we've got a double drop event. So I've got 100 plus shards to pull through, and I'm hoping that we get something decent. Come join me. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with me, your bald-headed boy scribe. How the devil are we all doing? Fantastic to have you here. Before we begin, ladies and gentlemen, of course, if you are looking to start your own raid account, please do download using my QR code up in the corner over there, or by using the link in the description down below, and you will be able to get yourself a fantastic start to the game immediately once you have beaten the prologue on your brand new account. You will get access to the legendary unit Grand Oak Porrick, who I'm just about to get up for you right now, ladies and gentlemen. He is a Sylvan Watcher's legendary unit, a support type unit. Here he is, check him out, carrying the staff. Wonderful folk. This guy is an amazing legendary, one of the best supports that you can actually get, particularly in the Sylvan Watcher's faction. Right now, we've actually got the Chase or the Fragment Fusion event going on for Folan, and Folan is also a Sylvan Watcher that benefits from having other Sylvan Watchers in your team. So, combined, they will be fantastic, you might say. Not only that, but as you gain levels on your account, every 10 levels up to level 30, you will be gaining yourself additional epic units. Once you hit level 10, you will get the epic unit Stagnite over here, who is a personal favorite of mine. Love this guy, great support. Able to put attack down, defense down, able to put accuracy up, really good support, useful in things like Clan Boss, useful in Doom Tower, useful pretty much everywhere. Once you get to level 20, you will get Ugo, ladies and gentlemen, of the Ogrin tribes. This guy is an epic level support unit as well, able to provide AoE heals, AoE revives, and lots of good business like that. Finally, once you hit level 30, you will get my personal favorite out of this bunch, which is, of course, the wonderful Tagore. Tagore is, still to this day, my choice support unit. He is able to heal up units, AoE revive, as well as just keep the team alive with his defense up. Wonderful unit is Tagore. Love him to absolute bits. Now don't forget, within the first 48 hours, you can enter promo codes as well. I recommend using Raid 7, and that will get you the legendary unit Pelops. And Pelops paired with Tagore will clear through the campaign for you. This guy is incredibly tanky, reflects damage with that HP burn, damage based on hit points, so just able to tank everything out and reflect damage back. He's a great unit. Love him, use him in every game mode. Okay, what are we doing today? In the portal at the moment, Ancient Shards currently have a double chance of epic and legendary champion drops to happen. I've got 119, and that bothers me just a little bit. I wish it was 120 for us to go through. Now, a double drop event is a good time to use these anyway, but not only that, currently, we do have a champion chase event going on for Folan, and we need to get at least 3,000 points here in order to get all of the fragments of his fusion summon. And of course, we can do that by summoning units. Look, if we get an epic unit over here, that's 250 points. If we get a legendary, which we might do, that's going to be an extra 500 points. So I'm hopeful, fingers crossed, ladies and gentlemen, that we will be able to get at least maybe something. If we check out the drop rate over here, you can see, oh, that's the boosted champion, sorry. So legendary unit right now, Ancient Shards, a 1% chance. So if we did open 100, we might maybe get one. We also have a progressive chance over here. Who can we choose out of this? Who is this? We've got a Varkos Head Splitter, a legendary defense unit of the Dark Elves, and we've got Telena Soulseer, a legendary support unit for the High Elves. I'm going to go eeny, meeny, miny, mo, this guy, because he's got dark eyes, I guess. We're going. That's all the thought that I'm willing to put into this. Let's do a temple. Let's see if we go. Come on, fingers crossed, no whammies. What are we getting? Okay, so far, nothing new, nothing great. No, nothing great, nothing good. No, oh, hold it, no. Oh, yes, okay, we got one epic unit in Hordrin. Let's have a look through Spirit Host. I'm pretty sure I've had this unit before. I think I've had all of these units before, truth be told. Hellfang, definitely had him. Marquess, yep. Solaris, Misericorde, Fury Stroker, Magus, Thurgist, Hordrin, and Fury Stroker. I don't know this Hordin guy. He's a Bannerlord, so just like my Stagnite dude. What has he got in his A1? Attack one enemy 2 times, grants an extra turn if the target is killed. That's pretty cool, actually. What else we got? Attacks one enemy, 60% chance of placing a 50% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns. Heals this champion by 10% of the damage inflicted. That's okay, I suppose. 50% increase attack buff, and a 30% increase crit chance buff, and a 30% increase speed buff on this champion for 2 turns. Shame it's not on all champions. There's some really nice buffs though. 6-turn cooldown, that's a pretty heavy cooldown as well, but he does also have an aura leadership, a speed leadership in faction crypts. Not too bad, not too bad. Might have use for him. Let's try another temple, see where we get to. Pulled 1 epic so far. Hopefully we will get some more. Grave Chill Killer, definitely got all of these so far. An extra 100 tournament points, that's not enough. Okay, nothing there is too exciting. Yeah, oh gosh, I'll use some crystals here to get some additional slots. I desperately need some additional slots, to be fair. What else have we getting over here? Oh, another epic unit there. Catacomb Counselor and Theresk over here. Okay, let's take a look at Catacomb Counselor. Undead Hordes. Anybody in the chat that knows these units, please do let me know. Point out any useful units here. 50% chance of placing a 25% increased attack buff on this champion for 2 turns, then attacks 1 enemy. Seems pretty terrible. Attacks 1 enemy 3 times. Heals this champion by 20% of the damage inflicted. Damage based on attack. Again, no, this one doesn't seem very good at all. Teams up with 2 random allies. Okay, he's got not an all ally assist, but a 2 ally assist. Attack single enemy. These allies, joining attack will use their default skill. Or 3. Okay. If you've ascended him to 3-star ascension. I mean, the problem is I think the rest of his skills are kind of garbage, but, you know, his A3 is actually pretty decent. Maybe has some use in Finite, something like that. Next one is Theresk then. Theresk over here. She looks like she's having way too much fun. Right, okay. Attacks 1 enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 25% chance of increasing the duration of a random debuff by 1 turn. That's okay. And then the increase of that, the debuff chance increases. A2, attacks 1 enemy 3 times. Each hit has a 40% chance of removing a random buff from the target. That's okay. Attacks all enemies. 50% chance of placing a 50% decreased resistance debuff for 2 turns based on attack, decreased resistance. Then we've also got a passive, 10% more damage against a target whose resistance is lower than this champion's accuracy. That's interesting. And then an aura for crit rate in all battles. I don't think particularly good. Interesting unit, but not particularly good. Let's just keep on gaining additional slots here. I need to get them anyway, so let's keep on going. What have we got? Oh, another epic here with Grimskin. Got a new unit there with Wretch and Valor. Okay, so Grimskin over here of the Ogrin Tribes. What has he got on a basic? Tarry Fist. Attacks 1 enemy, 40% chance of placing a 15% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns based on defense. Attacks 1 enemy, 40% chance of placing a 30% decreased. Okay, so it's got decreased speed on an A1. That's okay. Frustrating Muck. Muck is generally frustrating. Attacks 1 enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing Provoke. I don't actually have a Provoker, or at least I haven't built up a Provoker. A 40% chance of placing Provoke debuff on all enemies for 1 turn if the first Provoke is placed. 4-turn cooldown, you can reduce it to a 3-turn cooldown. And the Provoke only lasts 1 turn. Probably not a consistent Provoke. Attacks all enemies. 80% chance of removing a random buff from each target. 5-turn cooldown. Yeah, I'm not so sold on Grimskin. Who else did we have? We had a Valor over here of the Barbarians, loving the mask. The mask is fetch. Alright, Piercing Blades. Attacks 1 enemy 2 times. Increases the inflicted damage by 15% if the target is under a shield buff, based on defense. Alright, Crush the Wall. Attacks all enemies. 30% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff on all enemies for 2 turns based on defense. It's an ascended skill. Removes all shield buffs on all enemies, then attacks all enemies. 30% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. Ascended version. And you can get it to a 3-turn cooldown with an additional 20% chance on that debuff landing. 50% chance overall. That's an okay A2, I guess. Shield buff on this champion for 3 turns equal to 20% of their max hit points. Also places a 60% increased increased defense buff on this champion for 3 turns. And fills this champion's turn meter by 50%. That's kind of nifty. You could have it on a 3-turn cooldown. This seems okay. Valor seems okay. Decrease the damage this champion receives by 15% whilst under a shield buff. It's decent enough. Aura resistance. And I think she had something to do with having her accuracy higher than enemy's resistance. Something like that. Let's keep going. Give me more. More. Hellfreak. Nice name. Mother Superior. Nothing in the epic or the in the legendary status just there. Oh, we got an epic here with Hope. Hopefully she's good. We also got Bloodfeather over here and Gory. Wow, we've got a couple here. Not too shabby at all. So Hope over here is a Sacred Order unit. Sequester. Attacks one enemy, 30% chance of placing a block buffs debuff for 2 turns. Damage based on attack. Increased duration of all buffs on all allies. Ooh, I like an increase buffs. Shame it's on a 4-turn cooldown with no way of reducing that cooldown. That's a shame. Attacks all enemies, 50% chance of decreasing the duration of all buffs by 1 turn. That's okay. Or it could just remove all buffs. That's even better. And you can get it down to a 3-turn cooldown. That's acceptable. Aura, HP, factions. Okay. Then we've got Bloodfeather, who is an orc. Interesting looking orc over here. Attacks one enemy. An extra 30% chance of inflicting a critical hit. Attacks one enemy, 30% chance of inflicting critical hit based on attack, ascended, 60% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns, then attacks one enemy, an extra 30% chance for critical hit. Yeah, it's okay. Get it down to a 2-turn cooldown, which is decent enough, I suppose. One enemy, 30% chance decrease speed debuff for 2 turns, and it strips their turn meter by 50%, an extra 30% chance. Oh, she's just got extra 30% chance of critically hitting on all of her abilities. You can get it down to a 3-turn cooldown, which is okay. Yeah, it's not bad. Crit rate, infection crits. Okay. So, Bloodfeather. Then we got Gory over here. Gory, who is a Shadowkin. I love this. This is a really cool look. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Places an extra hit if the target is under a freeze debuff. This champion heals by 10% of the damage inflicted. Attacks 3 enemies at random with a 75% chance. Of placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn. Okay, so that pairs well with his A1, I guess. And 4-turn cooldown, you can get it down to 3, and you can give it a 100% chance of trying to place that freeze debuff if you booked him up. It's okay. Attacks one enemy, will ignore increased defense and shield buffs, will also ignore 50% of the target's defense if they're under freeze, places counterattack buff and 50% increase attack buff on this champion for 2 turns if this attack kills an enemy. Shame about that little clause at the end. And you can get it down to a 3-turn cooldown. This guy seems okay. Passive. Counterattacks with the Cold Comfort skill whenever an enemy places stun, sleep, freeze, provoke, fear, true fear, or petrification debuff on an ally. Interesting. Which is... yeah, okay, so yeah, just hits them with the A1 basically. That's okay. He seems okay. And that's it for that one. Let's keep going. Blowing through my crystals here. This is a terrible use of crystals. Don't do this. Alright, so we got Umetogi. And we also got Ripper over here. As well as Masamoto. Okay, Umetogi then. Umetogi. Who am I togging right now? Attacks one enemy 2 times. An additional 20% chance of inflicting a critical hit if this champion is under Veil or Perfect Veil. Okay. Silent Parting. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit ignores 20% of the target's defense. Nice. 20% chance of critically hitting if it... yeah, okay, so Veil or Perfect Veil. It just increases crit chance on this guy. Places a Perfect Veil buff and 30% increased speed buff on this champion for 2 turns. Then fills this champion's mastery by, turn meter by 40%. That's not too bad. A cooldown of 3 as well. If you book it, that's kind of nice. I like that. Umetogi seems pretty cool. Aura to increase crit rate in all battles. Nice. So she's going to be critting a lot. Whenever this champion is attacked, completely blocks 1 hit, decreasing the incoming damage to 0, then counterattacks with the default skill. That's pretty cool. When attacked by a boss, decrease the incoming damage by 50% before instead. That seems good. That seems very good. I quite like Umetogi. And then we had Ripper over here, who is part of the Skinwalkers. What do we got over here? Attacks one enemy, destroy their max hit points by 30% of the damage inflicted. That's pretty cool. We do like a bit of destroy max hit points when you're going up against things like Scarab, I guess. Attacks one enemy 2 times, damage increases as the target hit points decreases, so that pairs well with the basic, obviously, to decrease their max hit point or destroy it. Attacks one enemy, ignore 50% of their defense, destroys their max hit points by 40%. Wow, okay. So he's got a lot of destroy max hit points. And then a crit rate in all battles. Aura. Finally, we got Masamoto over here, who looks kind of sick, not gonna lie. He looks sick. A1 then. Attacks one enemy 2 times. 10% chance of stealing a random buff. Okay. Damage based on defense. And what have we got? Extra damage and lots of debuff chance. Attacks all enemies. 50% chance of placing a 50% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns. We like decrease attack. based on defense. Cooldowns reduced to 3, and you can get an extra 25% chance, so 75% chance. Okay. And then we have Yojimbo, places a 60% increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns and fills turn meter for all allies by 15%. That's okay. Doesn't seem amazing, but maybe I'm wrong there. You'll all have to let me know. Okay, so when we're checking in the Champion Chase tournament over here, we've got all of the Folan shards that we need, but I am going to keep pulling because we do have a double drop going on at the moment. Allow us to keep going then, ladies and gentlemen. Summon another 10. Might as well get my way through all of these Ancient Shards. Let's see, what do we get? What do we get? Okay, so we've got Horsakul over here. This is a barbarian with a rather fancy looking hat. Basic, attacks one enemy, 30% chance of placing a stun debuff one turn. Not bad. Okay, attacks all enemies, 50% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. Decreases the turn meter of enemies under stun debuffs by 15%. And 3 turn cooldown. Removes all stun debuffs from all allies and places a 60% increased defense debuff, a buff for 20 and a 25% increased resistance buff on all allies for 2 turns, with a cooldown of 4 if he's booked out, and an aura for defense. Seems okay. Alright, who else do we have? Seneschal? Don't know how to pronounce that one. Of the Banner Lords over here. Attacks one enemy, 30% chance of placing a leech debuff based on attack. Okay. 15% continuous heal buff on an ally for 2 turns, and Perfect Veil. Okay, I like Perfect Veil on there as well. Counter-attack buff on this champion for 2 turns, and a 50% chance of placing a Provoke debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. Doesn't seem all that special. Let's keep pulling. Just a couple more to go. Looks like we got another 2 epics there. We got the Occult Brawler. Here's the Ogre in Tribes. Attacks one enemy. 50% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns. Okay, not bad. That's a lot. Attacks one enemy. If this champion is under 1 or more debuffs, this attack will ignore 30% of enemy's defense. If this champion is under 2 or more debuffs, the enemies killed by this skill cannot be revived. If this champion is under 3 or more debuffs, this attack will always critically hit. If these under 4, they heal by 30% of the damage inflicted. And if this champion is under 5 or more debuffs, grants an extra turn, removes all the debuffs after the attack. Wow. Okay, that's pretty hardcore. Places a 2.5% debuff on this champion for 4 turns at the start of each turn. Okay, so he gives himself a bunch of poison, and then when you use his special over here, he gains a bunch of different effects based on how many stacks of poison we have, basically. That's pretty cool. And if it's ascended, has a 70% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff on a random enemy for 4 turns at the start of each turn. I'll be honest, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. Not sure if it's very good. Hey, we've got a duplicate Tagore as well. I do love Tagore. All right, let's keep going then. 2 epics here. We've got Fodbor the Bard. Fodbor, what a great name. A dwarf, of course. Heal reduction. Attacks one enemy 3 times. 15% chance of placing a 100% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns. Seems like that would be useful against Fire Knight. Multiple attacks, 3 hits, and heal reduction. That seems pretty good for Fire Knight. Attacks one enemy, 80% chance of stealing 2 random buffs from the target, 80% chance of placing stun debuff for 1 turn if the target has no buffs. And you can reduce the cooldown, okay? Awful Crooning, beg your pardon. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing a 30% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns, damage based on attack. Changes it to a 60%. Okay, I mean, that's okay. Seems okay. Maybe decent enough versus the Fire Knight. Kinagashi, I think I might have had this one. Seems pretty decent, to be fair. It's got an AoE revive, all that sort of business. Apologies, Mr. Scribble came in. Revives an ally with 50% hit points and 50% turn meter. But it also places 60% increased debuff. Kinagashi seems pretty decent. Seems okay. Seems okay. Alright, let's keep going. Looks like we are unlikely to land ourselves a Lego pull today, which is a bit of a shame, but I've already got a Narox Blackhorn, that's a shame. That is actually almost all of our Ancient Shards. I won't bother with the last set because, you know, what's the use of me pulling 9? I'll save that for a future event. Overall, could have been worse, I suppose. Got myself a Lego tome. That's not too bad. Only 80 away from this. Yeah, I'm not gonna push any further on this champion chase in particular. Never mind, ladies and gentlemen, never mind. All in all, decent enough. happy to do it again for next time. Let me know how you guys are getting on with Folan. Are you guys getting close to finishing them up? Don't forget, at the moment we do have a couple of events going. We've got the champion training event. I just pulled a load of units, so I'm going to be investing in those to get Folan up there, which will be great. But also we have got gear enhancement event. There's a way. I'm nearly done with this one. I should finish off this today. And I think we've got Ice Giant. Is it Ice Giant? Ice Golem? I think Ice Golem is running at the minute. Just need to finish off that. So I'll probably leave that background battling so I can gain a bunch more gear. And then that's going to feed into the gear enhancement events that I'll be able to finish off my Folan. Okay, and we've got Classic Arena Takedown starting soon. Amazing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, use my QR code up over here. Get yourself a wonderful Grand Oak Porrick, and then every 10 levels you'll be gaining yourself units such as Stag Knight, Ugo, and of course Tagore, who I got a duplicate of today, which is pretty nifty. I'll see you all in the very next video. Peace out, and big love.